Okay, we're in Holyoke, Massachusetts, and we're doing full-length tour of Pine Street today. So we're right on Pine Street, and you notice that there's fairly simple homes. A lot of these homes were made to be simple for workers that could start to afford them 150 years ago. A lot of these are 1880 homes. If they all look the same, it's because they all have the same builder behind them. Probably someone like Daniel O'Connell would have made those. Okay, we're going one block up now towards Dwight Street, and we see a few tenement houses. There were at this corner loads of tenement houses. This is at all the corners, and then even radiating away from there, you would have seen tenement houses. On the left is Dwight Street Garden, which I help out a lot. And so you can visit there. The food is free. And your right-hand side is the Alpina home, which should be rehabbed. They got money for its facade. Okay, we're crossing Suffolk Street now. Okay, and on this street we get to see the YMCA, and some homes, not too many, most of them are gone, but you see the YMCA side of it at least. This is a very big YMCA. It does have a pool inside there. It's very large to serve the greater Holyoke community, so it serves South Hadley, Granby, so forth. And it replaces one that was the birthplace of volleyball, but that one's totally gone. That's very sad because Holyoke, of course, is the birthplace of volleyball. Now we're crossing the corner. The far Alpaca Mills owner home was here once, but that's gone too. All right, now finally we go to a purely residential section, and notice all the Victorian homes on the street. Some of them are really nice looking. If you like quaint little homes, there's some of those. If you like ornate, there's some on the right-hand side, the yellow and the pink one. Right? But it's contrasted by very simple ones on the other side. Okay, we're going to cross Essex Street. Essex Street was just made into a National Register Historic District recently. And parts of Pine, some of the tenement houses on the side were made into that too. Now we're coming to more ornate looking Victorian homes on both sides with brackets and corbels and all these kind of things. If you look on the ones on the right hand side, you probably see more ornate than the ones on the left hand side. But they're good to look at. This is my favorite block of Pine Street, is the one just short of Cabot. This is a one-way street. You can only go one direction. But the biggest treasure of all is coming up very soon. So there's nicer homes, and it's for a reason, because on Pine Street is the front of the Wisterias, and you see that off to your right-hand side. You can see it's gorgeous home. The Wisterias are dyed because of the winter time, so you get a better view of what it looked like. And they put money in to fix their wall, so hopefully they'll go through. And this is a one-block home, landscape with gardens. It has a carriage house in back, now made into a house museum because the Skinners gave it to Holyoke for free in the 50s, but they lived here from 1874 onwards. And they basically changed this whole neighborhood. There was nothing up here. And Orr and Allen added to it along the way. And if you look on the houses on the left-hand side, you could, as a contrast, you got a bunch of row houses in brick, which is great, and some simpler houses. In fact, the chauffeur-driver of the Skinners lived in one of these houses. Now, Pine Street is a long street because it used to go very far to the south, further than most of these gridded streets in Holyoke. Okay, so here used to be the Holyoke High School to our right hand side, and now replaced by the Council on Aging building, which has been very active these last 10 years. On the left hand side, you see the back of the National Armory. The National Armory was built to serve Massachusetts National Guard. It's still here even after almost 100 years. And it's quite beautiful, castellated design that faces onto Sargent Street. Sadly, the back portion fell, and you can see some of the remaining sections seem to be falling in. It probably doesn't have a long life left to it. Now finally, this section of Pine Street becomes a two-way. We're crossing Sargent Street. And we're going to a section that used to be the Jackson Street Parkway, and on the right and left they replaced it with smaller homes about 30 years ago. The Holyoke Trade School was on our right, it's long gone. Franklin Street starts on our left, not forming a full intersection anymore, but it once did, because its duty's been replaced by Resnick Boulevard. Now, there's one more section of Pine Street, and that's the section that used to go into Elmwood Park. Elmwood Park was an enormous mile-long park designed by the Olmsted brothers for the city of Holyoke. The park had rustic bridges, it had lots of gorgeous trees, it had 2 dingles, and now this section of Pine Street ends right here, and it ends in the parking lot for Holyoke High School. But this is where Olmsted's designed the park. This whole neighborhood has been filled in with other things besides the Elmwood Park. They had to rename it. It's 5 different parks now. It's now 2 different schools, the Peck Middle School and the Holyoke High School. It's big parking lots. It's a football field, Roberts Field and track to the right, the Ornall tennis courts to your left, and then in front of us now is the Young soccer field. And in the far distance, you see the purple scoreboard. That's Mackenzie Field. So Mackenzie Stadium was a WPA project from the 30s. The field also was what constituted the brook that formed this gorgeous park, the Daybrook, is now almost totally underground. So drastic changes happened to Pine Street, and it changed. Each block has its character. Can you imagine this is one of the entrance points into the Elmwood Park? You would have brought you to the largest rustic bridge of all. So thank you for coming on this tour of Holyoke.